Wrongful death cases are always the worst. They're always full of grief and sorrow. People lose family members, loved ones, friends, and then of course it sets in that I don't have my wife around anymore, I don't have my husband around anymore, I don't have the help I was counting on, I don't have the income, I don't have the companionship, on and on. And I've dealt with super tragic cases, whether it's been young people, middle-aged people, elderly folks. All of it is extremely sad and hard. But what we can do under the law, and the only thing we can do under the law, is compensate the loved ones with as much money as we can to fill in the blanks that are left. And a lot of times, the biggest cases that we deal with are those where folks are in some type of earning capacity. They've got X amount of years left, and we are then able to figure out through the use of our economists that can testify in court. I use a number of PhDs across the state, typically at our universities, who teach economics, and we hire them and use them to help us value the person's life. What kind of income were they making? What were their prospects in the future? What were the medical costs that were involved in the care up to the time they passed away? Sometimes people die on the scene of terrible accidents. But whatever the costs are and the losses, we work very hard to calculate those and to resolve the case as quickly as we can. Now, the more complicated it is, the more parties who might be involved in having to pay the money out, it can get more complicated, of course, and I've filed numerous lawsuits in wrongful death cases. I will warn you that I know people go through a grieving process, and sometimes it takes a while to get over it, to gather up the strength to then pursue your case for the family member who's been killed. Problem is, there's only a 2-year statute of limitations in most cases in North Carolina. So you need to act within a reasonable amount of time. The minute that we get a call on one of those cases, of course, we immediately gather the records, such as accident reports, incident reports, whatever they might be. And then we meet with the family member who's representing the estate. We can also help you set up an estate. When someone dies, they're no longer here, and they have no right to sue or collect anything. So an estate has to be set up for them. A lot of people die without a will, so we may have to have an administrator or an administratrix appointed. Typically, it's a family member. If the person was married, a lot of times it's the spouse. It doesn't have to be. If the person had a will, then we see that the executor or the executrix is able to help us. And then, of course, we begin the action, and we begin to go after the individual or individuals who are responsible. And then we start pursuing the case. And we work very hard to build up the economic formula to capture all the monies that are available so that the family can be compensated for the loss. And when you say, well, I had like I've dealt with many instances where there's a spouse involved that might be taking care of the children. Well, he or she didn't have an income. What do we do about that? We have answers for those things because the services the spouse was providing are expensive. And they are worth money, and we can calculate that. So there are ways to help in all these matters. And all you have to do is pick up the phone and call me. I am more than happy to talk to you. There's absolutely no charge to do that. I'll tell you what kind of case you have. I'll analyze it as quickly as I can for you, and I'll explain to you exactly what can be done. The fees that are involved, which again, don't have to be paid until and unless we collect anything in the case for you. And of course, you get to agree as to the value you'll accept in the matter. All those things are very important. I don't want you to be worried about being pressured into anything. And I understand there's a huge grieving process. I've dealt with enough of these cases over the years and handed out a lot of tissues trying to go through these matters. And I know it's tough, but you owe it to yourself, to any dependent children, to other family members who counted on this spouse's income or help, to see to it that the case is pursued in a timely manner and that the maximum judgment or settlement is achieved. If the case has to go to trial, I will take it to trial. I'm in court virtually every day of the week. The courts are open, and I will be down there pounding on the table in front of the jury to get all the money that can be secured in the case. All you have to do is pick up the phone and call me. I'm Tom Goolsby of the Goolsby Law Firm, and I'm happy to help you.